Good afternoon to you all and happy Friday. How are you doing? Greetings from East London. I hope you are doing well on this glorious day. Can you believe that it is already past the summer solstice and so the days are getting shorter and winter is coming? Can you believe it? You wouldn't imagine it today. Such an absolutely glorious day. Hi Miles, thanks for joining. Hi Paula. How are you doing? And Michael, hi. Goodness, few people joining, fantastic. How are you all doing on this glorious Friday? I was just saying, can you believe that the days are already getting shorter? We're officially into summer, which means that we are past the summer solstice, and actually that means that winter is coming. Can you believe that? No, me neither. Hope it's glorious and beautiful and fabulous wherever you are. Just a few more people joining. Thank you so much for joining. A few people coming in. So, how are we all doing this week? How is your family? How is your business? How is your team? And what have you been working on? A lot of my clients in the sort of retail sector and other sectors that have started to open up here in the UK in the last couple of weeks. It's been interesting times for them and their teams, trying to figure out what their customers want, how to protect their teams, how to entice the customers whilst keeping everybody safe. It's a really interesting time for a lot of businesses, but I know also quite a worrying time. So I hope that you guys are keeping safe and well. Paula's making major progress this week. Fantastic. Looking forward to hearing all about that. Hi, Michael. Interesting times, I think, for businesses all over the world, and particularly here in the UK. So interested to know how you are all doing. Do let me know. As you know, this group is all about helping you build a business that works for you, whatever that might look like for you, whether you are chasing world domination, whether you're trying to build a nice lifestyle business, or whether you're looking to have a little bit more balance in your life. Whatever that is that works for you, whatever that means to you, whatever success means to you, this group is all about helping you build that business that works for you. So last week I mentioned units, and all the content in this group is now organised into 6 modules so that you can quickly and easily find exactly what you need. So last week, as you know, we talked about getting yourself investor ready. We talked about what investors look for when they are looking to invest in businesses, how to go about raising money for your business, and we've put that in the success module. Today, this week, we're going to be talking about measurement, as you know, and that will go into the systems module. So there's a description against each of the modules, and hopefully that will allow you to find exactly what you're looking for quickly and easily. As always, if there is a particular topic that you would like me to cover in a future live, do let me know. Those modules have a description against each one, and they mirror the program that I work with my clients. So you'll be able to get access to a lot of that content through those modules. So today we are talking about what do you measure in your business. So metrics are actually really important if you want to scale what you're doing. You need to know what works and what doesn't, and you really need to drive consistency and reliability, and it's really difficult to do that if you don't know where you are. A lot of people think that this topic is a bit boring, so I'm going to try and make it interesting today. Whether you're looking for more growth in your business or whether you're looking to achieve some stability, metrics is going to be, and measuring is going to be a really important way for you to do that. So one of the things that I noticed about metrics when I was doing the research for my book is that they can appear either devilishly simple or absolutely complicated. As adults, I've said before, we like to make things complicated. So either they look deceptively simple or devilishly complex. And the danger is that if you're looking at information without the context, it can drive your decisions and also behaviours of you and your team that you might not be able to predict. And so it's really important to really think about what you're measuring. And to put it in really simple terms, if you're not measuring the really critical elements of your business, whatever they may be, you have no real way of knowing what state your business is in, or what direction it's heading in, or actually, crucially, whether it's on track or falling behind. A lot of business owners, I find, rely a lot on their gut, and it's important to listen to our gut because it often knows what's going on. But I always encourage people to look at the data as well. Ask your team, by all means. You'll get lots of different opinions. If everybody's telling you that everything's okay, then you need to be careful about that as well. But there's no real substitute for actual data to tell you what's going, because ultimately human beings, we're all creatures of emotion, and that means that depending on how you're feeling will also relate to then how you're feeling about your business. So it's really important to have some key metrics. And if the data you're looking at is confused, or it's ill-defined, or it's inaccurate, even worse, it might lead you to make poor decisions and also to miss those crucial opportunities. And so I want to spend a little bit of time today just helping you get really clear about what you should be measuring and giving you some thoughts about how to do that in an efficient way. So some business owners try to measure everything. They like a good spreadsheet. I'm probably one of those. And some don't measure anything at all. And I'm not quite sure what is worse. Too much data can definitely be just as bad as too little. And so the real challenge is deciding what is truly important to you in your business. So the key question then is, what do you measure in your business? One way of thinking about this is, if you imagine that you were stuck on a desert island and every day you received just one piece of paper with some information written on it about your business, just one piece of paper every day. You can't talk to anybody and you can't get any more information. All you have every day is one piece of paper with some information written on it. And so my question to you is, what would need to be written on that piece of paper for you to know what was going on in your business? And if you think about it like that, it will help you start to get clear about what is really important. Because I'm going to give you some general principles and some of my thoughts, but all of your businesses are different. And so just think about, if you couldn't talk to anybody, if you couldn't look at anything, if you couldn't ask any questions, if you couldn't access any systems, but you just got one piece of paper with information written on it, with a few different metrics written on it, every single day, what would that need to say for you to know exactly what was going right in your business and what was potentially an area of concern in your business? Each business may measure slightly different things, and of course in slightly different ways, and I don't want to overwhelm you with a million different things, and you know that I do like to keep things simple, and today is definitely no exception to that. So today I'm going to talk about 3 different types of metrics, or 3 different areas if you like. I'm going to talk about activity metrics, I'm going to talk about customer metrics, and I'm going to talk about financial metrics. So firstly, if we think about activity metrics, so I've talked before quite a bit about looking for evidence. All of us get hung up on results, and of course results are important. We're ultimately in business to generate revenue for our shareholders, for our teams, and results for our customers, and of course results are absolutely important. But I've spoken before about looking for evidence that tells you that you're on the right track, and activity metrics are a really smart way of doing that. So let me explain. It's easy, as I say, to get obsessed with that sales data and forget what is actually driving those sales, because sales don't just happen like that. If they do in your business, do let us know. But in most businesses, in my businesses and the business that I work with, my clients' businesses, certainly there's activity that drives sales, and it's a process. We all have a sales process. And so what I'm talking about here is, you want to be keeping a track of all the different types of activity that you and your team are doing. The things that you know in your business start those conversations that lead to inquiries that eventually lead to sales. So for example, how many proactive emails or social media conversations are you generating, are you starting? How many events are you attending, either online or in person? What advertising are you doing? What outreach are you doing to your potential clients, to your network? What are you posting on social media? How many follow-up calls are you having? And so all of these activities that you're measuring they are the inputs, and that's the way that you need to think about it. So they're all the things that you and your team are doing to drive business results, to drive conversations effectively, because sales is about having conversations with people, whether that's a digital conversation, a face-to-face conversation, an online conversation. So the inputs are the activities that you and your team are doing to generate those conversations. And so you definitely want to be measuring all of those different inputs so that you can see what is moving the needle, which activities are having the most impact. And the outputs then are parts of your sales process. So let me break this down for you in simple terms. So the first thing is leads. So how many new names are you getting each week? Either are you getting them from referrals? Are you getting them because people are contacting you via your website or contacting you via social media? Are people reaching out to you in different ways? Are they being introduced to you? Have you been to an event and you've met some new people? How many new names are you being made aware of that could potentially be customers? We don't know yet, but how many new names do you have each week? Make a note of that each week. And then the next step then is to track how many of those new names that you're becoming aware of are you and your team having a conversation with, having some sort of engagement with. And what I'm talking about here is an actual sales conversation. So this is not a chat, this is an actual sales conversation that you're having with somebody where they know that they are exploring with you the possibility of working with you together. They are finding out more about you and you are finding out more about them, and you are having an actual sales conversation. If both parties are not aware that it's a sales conversation, it's not a sales conversation. So that's effectively the second output. So first is the new names, then it's the exploration, the conversation, if you like, where you're actually talking about the potential of working together. Then there's a critical point in that sales process where the other person asks you, how much would it be to work with you? Tell me more about what it would actually mean to work with you. Or send me a proposal, depending on what your product or service is. Either they're asking you during that conversation or they're asking for more information, including price. And then, of course, how many sales or how many deals do you close? So they're effectively the 4 broad steps of your sales process, whatever that might look like, whether that's mainly online or whether that involves a face-to-face conversation, and that will be different for all of you. But you've got your inputs, which is the activity, and then you've got your outputs, which are these clear steps that every business needs to go through in order to close a sale. And my point is here that if you track the activity and if you track the outcomes, then you'll be able to figure out which activities are leading to sales. And so each time you make a sale, it's worth spending the time asking your team to do that, to say, where did that name come from? Did it come from a referral? Did it come from an event? Did it come from social media? Did it come from advertising? Where did it come from? And then you will be able to see which activities are worth prioritising your time and your team's time. So I hope that that makes sense in terms of activity. I'm just going to pause a minute to see if we've got any comments here. So Henrik is saying he will catch me later. Nice to see you, Henrik, very briefly. Catch up with you later. Any questions? Lots of people saying hello. And lots of people watching. Good. I am going to move on now. So number 1 type of metrics was activity metrics. And then the next type of the next type of metrics that I want to talk to you about are customer metrics. So there are several metrics kind of around customers, if you like, that you want to keep a track on. And I'm going to think about 3 of them today that I want to talk to you about. So 3 different customer metrics, if you like, that you can keep a track on. So you definitely want to think about your cost of acquisition. How much does it cost you to get a customer all the way through your process? Whether you've got a funnel, whatever your process is, you're taking your customers from being completely unaware of you to becoming aware of you, to engaging with you, to having a conversation with you, to considering your products or services, to actually getting into business with you, if you like, buying your product or service. And so you want to think about, what does that cost you? Looking back at that activity, if it's advertising, what's your cost of advert? If it's attending an event, what was the cost of that? And not just actually in terms of money, but also in terms of your time, which, as I mention and stress to you very often, it's one of the most valuable and important resources in your business, your time. So it's important to measure cost of customer acquisition in terms of not just money, but also in terms of your time. The other really key metric when it comes to customers is retention. So what's your turnover of customers? All the research shows that new customers are much harder to find than retaining your existing customers. And it's amazing to me actually how many people don't actually spend as much time as I would like them to on retaining their existing customers. So what are you doing to retain your customers? It's one of the key things that I work with my clients on. What are we actually doing to retain our existing clients? But in order to know that, you need to have the data, and that's why measuring is so important. So what's the average length of time that your customer stays with you, and how much do they spend? Really important to start tracking that, because then you can take action. And that leads me on then to the third customer metric, which is lifetime value, which is what's the average total spend per customer? How much does your average client spend with you over the time that they are your customer? And the point of all of these metrics is that once you've got the data, then you can take action. So a lot of people, I mentioned at the beginning, find measurement or the thought of kind of metrics, etc., a bit of a boring topic. It's not boring when you realise that the power of having the data means that you can then take action. And that is why this is so important, particularly when you want to grow and scale your business. So customer metrics, super, super important. If you're not looking at your existing clients, you know, when was the last time you spoke to them? Has it changed during lockdown? A number of you have got businesses where something has maybe radically changed during lockdown. So are there businesses, are there customers that maybe you haven't engaged with in some time? Is it worth reaching out to them? How are they doing? How can you serve them better? What are you doing about retaining those customers? What are you doing about making sure that you're serving them the best that you can? So we've talked about activity metrics and we've talked about customer metrics. And then the third area that I want to just touch on is the financial metrics. And here I really want to focus on your profit and loss. I know there are lots of accountants get very excited about lots of different metrics and lots of different reporting, and there's loads and loads of different financial metrics that you can look at. But really for me, the profit and loss is really the most important financial report and financial metric that you can look at on a regular basis. So do you know what your revenue numbers have been each month over the last few months? Do you look at that on a regular basis? Do you look back and go, right, how am I doing in June, and how does that compare to May and April and March, and how does that compare to June a year ago or 2 years ago? It's just really, when you start doing that, you'll get those light bulb moments of like, okay, so what did I do differently here? It enables you to ask those intelligent questions. And the same thing about your costs. Are your costs consistent every month, or are they going up and down? Why are they going up and down? What's making them go up and down? Then you can make decisions, then you can take some actions. So what I find with financial metrics is that a lot of people aren't necessarily very good with numbers, or they think they're not very good with numbers. Maybe you weren't very good at maths at school, and so now you tell yourself that you're not very good at numbers. What I find actually when I'm working with people is they might tell themselves they're not very good at numbers, but actually most business people have got a handle on their key numbers. What I find, if you don't think you're very good at numbers, or you tell yourself that you're not, what a lot of people do is leave it to their accountant. They say, well, my accountant's dealing with all the finances and I trust him or her, they're doing a good job, and so I'm going to basically leave it to my accountant. And what I would say about this is that that's actually a really dangerous strategy, not because your accountant's not brilliant, I'm sure that he or she is, but the reason that I say that is that your accountant is looking at your numbers in a completely different way than you are. Your accountant's job is to keep you compliant, is to keep you obeying the laws and the rules and regulations that HMRC have, certainly in this country or in whatever country you are or whatever jurisdiction you're operating in. That is your accountant's job, is to make sure that you're compliant. Your job is, as a business owner, is to be looking at those numbers so that you can make decisions. You're the one that's running your business. Your accountant is not. Your accountant is keeping you safe, and that's a very important job. So please don't leave the numbers just to your accountant. Metrics are really super important because they help you make decisions, and that is one of your key jobs as a business owner. And a lot of people that I've been speaking to recently are worrying that they're not making good decisions. I spoke to a lady a couple of weeks ago who said, you know, I'm lying awake in bed at night worrying about whether I'm making the right decision, you know, what's right for my business. Data and metrics will help you make fact-based decisions. Remember, when it comes to metrics, actually, it's not what you measure that is important, but it's the meaning that you give that measurement. And so really think about what is the meaning you're giving the measurement, and how you're interpreting it, and then what actions you're taking as a result of that. So they are my thoughts on metrics in your business. There are many, many other metrics in your business, and I'd be interested to know what you choose to measure in your business. But today I've mainly focused on activity metrics. So that's your inputs and your outputs. I've talked about customer metrics, and then I've talked about financial metrics. Well, really, I've talked about your profit and loss, which for me is the most important one. So what do you think? What do you measure in your business? And what information might be available in your business that would be really useful for you to know and enable you to make better decisions? I'm going to close today's live with 2 quotes, and the first one is from Peter Drucker, who is an Australian-born writer on management theory and practice. And I love this quote, and it is so relevant and pertinent. And what he says, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And that is the point. If you measure something, you can take an action, you can do something, and then you can watch what the impact of that action is. So I'm not asking you to measure every single thing in your business, but think about some of those key measures that I've spoken about today, and think about what you could implement in your business. And the second quote is from the wonderful Albert Einstein, the famous physicist. And what he was famous as saying, or what he is quoted as having said, is not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. Which is a little bit of a a little bit of one of those things that you need to think about. So I might just say that again. Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. So I guess what that is saying is what really truly counts in your business. Let me know your thoughts and questions on this or any other topic related to how to grow a business that works for you. What area of business would you like for me to speak about next? What would be helpful for you in terms of growing your business? Tuesday morning next week is our June community event. I really hope that you can join us. Our theme next week will actually be all around managing difficult conversations and drama and conflict. So even if you don't really think there's much drama or conflict in your business, maybe you're avoiding those difficult conversations, maybe you would like some tips and tricks in terms of how to approach some of those difficult conversations, not just in your business. What I'm going to share with you next week will actually be really helpful at home or in other relationships as well. So do come along to that. It's not all about me sharing my ideas. Of course, I will share with you some of my thoughts, but come along, meet your fellow community members, meet some of those people, not quite face to face, but it'll be on a Zoom meeting, so we'll be all on video. They're normally great fun events. We've got quite a few people registered already, so have a look in the group and you'll see the event there where you can click on the Zoom link to register your place. Hope to see you then. And I'm going to close off by saying, whatever you're doing this wonderful, glorious, sunny weekend, and whoever you're doing it with, I wish you a happy and very peaceful time. And as always, if you want to talk, you know where I am. Please reach out. Take care, stay safe, and do keep in touch. Bye for now.